Joining me now to crunch the numbers, 538's Galen. Druke, Galen, the House and Senate still up for grabs. Let's talk about what the party's chances are here, considering where things stand at this moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you mentioned, these are too close to call at the moment. But of course, if you plug in the projected races so far into our forecast, we get a little bit better of an idea of where things stand. So currently, according to our forecast, it's about a 60-40 proposition that Democrats keep control of the Senate. And it's about a 90-10 proposition that Republicans take control of the House when everything is said and done. I should repeat again that a lot of these races are too close to call at this point. There's still a lot of vote out there that's being counted. So we can't say anything for certain yet, but that's what the big picture looks like based on what we know so far.
All right, and then walk us through Georgia's Senate race. A lot of split ticket voting here. Break it down.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the big takeaways from last night is that candidate quality matters. I think there's some cynicism that, hey, everyone's so partisan that none of this matters. Everyone just sees a Republican or a Democrat on the ballot and votes according to that D or R. That was not the case last night in a bunch of states, and Georgia is one of those states. In fact, Brian Kemp, the incumbent Republican governor there, ran 7 points ahead of Herschel Walker, the Republican in the Senate race. That's because he's seen as perhaps somewhat of a more bipartisan governor, having bucked Trump on the issue of the 2020 election, and also because perhaps Stacey Abrams was not quite as strong of a candidate as Raphael Warnock. And so we saw a significant split there, and as a result, Brian Kemp will not face a runoff. He has won that election out and out. However, on the other hand, Herschel Walker and Raphael Warnock are going to go to a runoff on December 6th in the state.
All right, Pennsylvania, the Democratic governor-elect, Josh Shapiro, had a strong showing against Republican Doug Mastriano. Do you think that that helped carry John Fetterman across the finish line?
You know, it's hard to say. So like in Georgia, we also saw a bunch of split ticket voters. In fact, Josh Shapiro ran 10 points ahead of John Fetterman in that race. So that means that even if Josh Shapiro was turning out a bunch of folks who were enthusiastic about voting for him instead of Mastriano, they may have still voted for Oz in the Senate race. In fact, 10% of them did. So it's hard to say whether or not, if he was not on the ballot, that Fetterman would have lost. I think the data doesn't allow us to make that sweeping generalization. I think what we can say, though, is that when it comes to candidate quality between the governor race and the Senate race, we once again saw that the Democratic candidate in that race for governor was stronger than in the Senate race.
And exit polling suggests that inflation and abortion were the top two issues for voters. Not surprised, while crime didn't even register as highly as expected. What happened there?
So this is a little bit complicated, but when exit pollsters talk to voters about their preferences, they ask them to pick just one issue that was their primary issue, whereas pollsters leading up to Election Day will oftentimes let you pick 2 or 3. And when we let voters pick 2 or 3, crime tends to rank more highly. In fact, 538 worked with Ipsos throughout the election cycle, and crime and gun violence was routinely number 2 after inflation and the economy. So when voters have to sort of decide just one, yes, it was inflation, then abortion, and then crime was on down from there. But I think that we can say that all of these issues affected the race because voters aren't actually just single issue voters in the end. I think we saw in places like New York that crime was probably more of an issue. Republicans did better there than we would have expected. But in other places like Michigan, where abortion was literally on the ballot, we saw Democrats do historically well there. So I think that played out in that race in just a different way. And so, you know, like the issue of candidate quality mattering, I think we can also say that while our politics are nationalized, it's not to the point that we don't see regional variation. Issues and candidates in different parts of the country can make unique pitches and sink or swim accordingly.
All right, 538, Galen, Druke. I know it was a long night and morning for you. So glad you came back to be with us. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.